Hey everyone, and welcome to my new Mythic Plus dungeon tanking guide, this time covering the Motherlode. This dungeon is densely packed with mobs, and their large area denial abilities can often lead to accidental pulls from your teammates. However, despite that, it's still quite forgiving, and I'll explain why later in the video. Before we start, I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel if you find this guide helpful. I'm getting close to my goal of 1,000 subscribers, and your support would mean a lot. As you enter the dungeon, it's quite common to start with a bloodlust pull, combining most of the packs in the initial area. The off-duty laborers don't pose much of a threat and go down quickly. However, one crucial mob to control here is the mech jockey. At around half health, it will move towards an unmanned mechanized peacekeeper lying on the side and begin casting Activate Mech. This cast cannot be interrupted with regular interrupts, so chaining crowd controls is essential. Additionally, you'll encounter 2 hired assassins whose toxic blades abilities can be interrupted. You'll also find a few refreshment vendors performing a channeled Ice Spritzer cast. This is the priority interrupt to help out the healer. If the mech jockey successfully activates the mech, he will board a mechanized peacekeeper. You'll encounter these several times before the first boss, and the most troublesome ability to deal with is tear gas, which throws large puddles of bad underneath players' feet, significantly limiting movement. To prevent accidental pulls, I usually move backwards from where we came to avoid these zones. When tanking these big guys, watch out for Charged Shield. This ability deals significant damage to you, so using mitigation is highly recommended. The damage also changes to other players in the group, and unfortunately this cannot be avoided. Next, keep to the right, clearing some space where you can pull the next mechanized peacekeeper, and have enough room to deal with the tear gas. In this playthrough, I skipped the 2 thugs on the left since we already had a few extra mobs in the initial pull. However, you can usually take them along as well. Just be mindful of their uppercut ability as they charge at a player and knock them and anyone near them into the air, which can be quite disruptive. I like to hold off on pulling the peacekeeper for a bit, since the tear gas will have the group moving around a lot. This constant moving can interfere with both damage and healing, so I find it optimal to pull the peacekeeper once the previous set of mobs is almost down. After clearing the initial area of the dungeon, I like to stick left close to the wall, pull the first pack you encounter together with the patrolling mechanized peacekeeper. This pack contains a jockey, refreshment vendor and thug, and you already know how to handle these. Move back to the cleared space to avoid any accidental pulls while dealing with them. As you move towards the boss area, I like to pull the next 2 packs together. However, this will leave you dealing with 2 jockeys at the same time. Since they have to move quite a bit to reach the mechs, prioritize them and use crowd control to manage both without too much of trouble. Once they're down, you'll face the last peacekeeper before the boss. Use the entrance area of the arena to handle the tear gas, which helps prevent any accidental pulls by keeping the fight contained. The coin-operated cow Pummeler is the next boss and is a relatively easy fight. Ideally, position the boss close to the sides of the arena, so that all bombs, which the rest of the group needs to punt onto the boss, spawn on one side of the boss. This makes it much easier for the group to reach them. At random intervals, the boss will eject stacks of coins. When this happens, move away from the coins, because shortly after, he'll use Coin Magnet to pull them in, becoming empowered for each stack he absorbs. Additionally, the boss will sometimes use a large frontal cone attack called Shocking Claw, which everyone needs to avoid. The next area of the dungeon again is packed with densely stacked mobs. I prefer to stay on the right side and pull the first 2 sets of adds back into the boss area, or hug the small space to the right. You'll want enough room to move once the Azerokk extractor casts Rapid Extraction. This ability deals heavy AoE damage to the group and bombards everyone with large puzzles of Azerite that needs to be avoided. Pulling them back to the boss area also reduces the risk of accidental pulls when players are dodging these puddles under pressure. Due to the rapid extraction, never pull more than one Azerite extractor at a time. The AoE damage alone can overwhelm the healer and leave little space to move. Also, watch out for the tank buster ability Puncture, which deals moderate upfront damage and leaves a bleed on you for a few seconds. Be mindful of the wanton sapper mob, which throws bombs at everyone, and when it dies, it drops bombs on the ground, so move out of these and try to anticipate his position when he goes down, to avoid accidentally cornering someone into a bad spot. Lastly, make sure to interrupt rock lances from the Earthshaper mobs. The next pack has the highest risk of ninja pulling, so I like to single it out so that the group is able to handle it would that happen. It's the same set of mobs as before, including an extractor. If all goes well and we're clear of the patrolling mobs in the middle of the area, I like to move towards the next set of ads and chain pull them while avoiding the extraction bombardment. These mobs include a few Shale Biters and a larger Stone Fury mob. The Stone Fury has a few casted abilities that can be interrupted, but the most important one is Furious Quake. This is the priority interrupt in this pack and should always be kicked. The other cast mainly shield the mob, slowing you down a bit. As you move up the hill, you could chain the next set of Shale Biters and the Stone Fury together. You might consider combining them with the last pack heading up to the boss, but be cautious because this pack contains a dangerous mob that I'll cover in a bit. If possible, clear these first before engaging that last pack. This pack contains a dangerous mob, a mini-boss of sorts called Taskmaster Askari. The main reason you don't want to combine too many mobs with him is his overtime ability. It's essentially a battle shout that grants all nearby mobs a 30% haste buff for 20 seconds and it stacks. The Taskmaster also uses cover, which redirects 50% of all damage taken by nearby mobs onto himself, while reducing his own damage taken by 75%. Additionally, he performs a frontal cone attack called Broad Slash, so make sure to face him away from the group. The most crucial ability to manage as a tank is Heavy Slash, a stacking bleed that deals significant damage if it accumulates too high. I should have mentioned this first, as it's the primary tank buster. At regular intervals, Taskmaster Askari will charge to another player with Brutal Charge, creating some distance between you and him, so use this opportunity to let the bleed stacks drop off. You may need to back away a little bit to ensure the bleed fully resets before he reaches you again. The next boss you'll encounter in this dungeon is Azerokk. Tanking him isn't too difficult, but there are some high damage intervals to watch out for. When you engage the boss, two Earth Ragers will fixate on a random group member and these players need to kite them and avoid getting hit. Periodically, the boss will empower one of the Earth Ragers, turning it into an infused Earth Rager that you can taunt. It deals significant damage, so you might consider kiting it as well. However, if you can manage the damage, tanking it allows for more efficient cleave damage on both the ad and the boss. For positioning, I like to start in the center of the room where the boss initially stands. This is because at some point he will cast Tectonic Smash in a random direction, which is a massive frontal cone attack that everyone needs to avoid. Keeping him in the middle gives the group room to respond from any angle. At intervals, the boss will cast Resonant Quake, a large AoE attack around him that no one should stand in. It leaves a big puddle of bad behind, and after this, I prefer circling around the area, using any crowd control at your disposal to slow or stun the Earth Ragers that are chasing the crew members. Cleave them down along with the boss whenever possible. Other than that, it's just rinse and repeat until the boss goes down. Once the boss is defeated, hop into the minecart behind him and ride down to the next area, which again is densely packed with mobs. Once you're down, I like to stick to the left, moving past the back of the building. Start with a tester mob and some subjects. While the group focuses on these, I like to pull the next pack from behind the building. This approach makes optimal use of the available space, especially since the masterminds in this pack have the Brainstorm ability. Brainstorm spawns moving, swirling zones of avoidable damage at player's location. Each time this happens, I move a little bit forward as the tank. Since the space behind the building is fairly small, positioning everyone behind the pack works like a funnel. With each Brainstorm, we move a little bit further, leaving the swirly safely behind us. Next, I pull the next set of subjects together with the tester and wait for the mastermind patrolling in our path to reach us. I follow the same strategy as before, moving slightly forward with each Brainstorm until we reach the next set of mobs. The last set of mobs before the boss contain 2 masterminds again. I move back and forth between the left and right side of the rounded area with each Brainstorm. Typically, the first swirlies despawn just as the next set of Brainstorm begins, so it shouldn't be too troublesome to manage. Moving on to the next boss, Rixxa Fluxflame. As a tank, the main thing to focus on during this boss fight is positioning. When you pull the boss, and at intervals throughout the fight, she will bombard the area with large patches of Azerokk. When this happens, choose the side with the most room to position the boss. Shortly after, she will target a party member with Azerokk Catalyst, bombarding them with Azerokk and leaving even more crap on the ground. The primary mechanic to manage in this fight is the Azerokk itself. Keep positioning the boss near the Azerokk patches, leaving a bit of space between them for movement. This setup makes it easier for the players targeted with the propellant blast to have the boss blast the Azerokk off the platform. In the last part of the dungeon, you'll primarily face Venture Co. war machines and specialists. The area is also littered with mines that will activate and target a random player as soon as you get near. These mines must be kited and crowd controlled to prevent them from reaching their target, because if they do, they will explode and deal massive damage. The war machines will also deploy similar mines, so managing these is the main challenge in this section. The Specialists has an artillery barrage ability that bombards a random player's location, so make sure to avoid this. Since most threats here involve area denial and mine management, it's crucial to take it slow and steady. Use the entire space leading up to the next boss and focus on crowd controlling the mines as much as possible. As you move upward to the boss, you'll encounter around 2 war machines and 3 specialists, along with the mines that spawn. This should be enough to reach the required percentages. Keep in mind that each war machine gives about 4.8% of overall mob count. So if you're slightly short, you can pump one of the other war machines scattered throughout the minefield. Just before the boss, you'll have to deal with 2 war machines at the same time. They can deal significant damage to you and will also spawn twice the amount of mines. So make sure to move away from the mines as much as possible to help the group manage them efficiently.
Defensive.
The last boss of the dungeon is Mogul Razdunk. At regular intervals, he will target a random party member with homing missiles, which have a large area of impact. Anyone targeted should run away as far as possible and use a defensive to help the healer while ensuring no one else gets hit.
Dodge.
The boss will also cast Summon Boomba, deploying 2 drones at the start of the fight. These drones move at a random location on the edge of the area. I missed this in this playthrough, but they will periodically bombard the area with missiles, giving you little time to react. When the drones relocate, watch where they are facing, because they will shoot missiles in a wide line area in front of them. So make sure the boss is not positioned in their path. Another ability to watch out for is Hail of Bullets. The boss will fire in a frontal cone while spinning in place. Avoid this by moving in a circle with the attack. Proper boss positioning is crucial here to ensure you're not caught between the boss's attack and the drone's missiles, as the boss remains stationary during this phase. After cycling through these abilities, the boss will shield himself and fly up, summoning 2 Sky Scorcher adds. Don't worry too much about aggroing them, as they will randomly deal damage to the group. Focus on killing them quickly. While airborne, the boss will drop 3 large pillars. Avoid the initial AoE damage, but stay near one of them afterwards, because the boss will target a random party member and fly towards them, and after a few seconds smash the ground. The targeted player should position themselves next to a pillar so that the boss smashes it, removing the pillar. Repeat this for all 3 pillars, and once all 3 pillars are destroyed, the boss will come down again and the cycle repeats. After defeating Razdunk, you've successfully completed the Motherlode dungeon. I really hope this video has been helpful in giving you a better grasp of the dungeon. And if so, please consider liking the video and, more importantly, subscribing to the channel. I'm slowly nearing the 1000 subscriber mark, and reaching this goal will mean a lot to me. For now, I'd like to thank you for watching, and you'll hear me in the next video.